Once you eventually buy your motorcycle and begin riding regularly, there are a few things that will take a few months to learn. If you're fortunate, a riding mentor with some expertise will help you out and share some of these recommendations with you, but if not, feel free to watch this video. When we initially started riding, we would just focus on performing one thing particularly well during the duration of the ride, like looking through the turn, as it was a lot to memorize at first. Once this becomes routine, you may focus on forming other positive behaviors. Bikers Express is here again to give you 12 tips for starting bikers for the best riding experience. So let's get started with number 1, keep your heels in. If you ride a sports bike, you'll notice that there are little diamond-shaped metal plates directly close to the pegs where you put your feet, separating them from the bike's interior. They should be used, and doing so is simple. They aren't only for show. Simply move your foot closer to the bike until your heel is in contact with the mounting plate. This one helps you feel much more secure and in control whilst you're riding. Despite being a small action, it has significant impact. If you have any doubts, give it a try for about a week and then try putting your feet in their original places without touching the plate. You'll feel as though they're suspended in midair. This advice might seem simple enough, but it's a basic rule that should not be neglected. Number 2, cornering rule. Motorcycles respond very quickly to the rider's inputs. Just glancing in one way will force you to turn somewhat in that direction. Focus on the exit or as far around the corner as you can as you go round that corner, avoiding looking down at an obstruction or a verge in a state of terror. When leaning on the bike, hold on to the tank with your inner thighs and simply ride with it rather than attempting to push it under. If you lean the bike under you as motocross riders do, there is more risk and slower speed because the bike is leaning far more than it should. Number 3, loose on top, tight on bottom. Make sure your bottom is snug and your top is loose when riding a motorcycle for optimal body positioning. Why does that matter? Well, it indicates that your thighs are sufficiently squeezed together to allow you to grasp the fuel tank and that your ankles are firmly placed against the bike. If you chance to roll over a significant bump at a speed of more than 60 miles per hour, this will keep you very stable and linked to the bike. The lower half of your body should be powerful and stable, but the top half should be as relaxed as possible. The rule of thumb is that you aren't loose enough if you can't wiggle your elbows like a chicken whilst you're riding. Many inexperienced riders have fallen off their bikes because they had a death grip on the handlebars and were unable to control the bike adequately in turn. You'll definitely notice a difference in the twisties if you're tight on the bottom and loose on the top. Number 4, be cautious while filtering. The ability to navigate traffic congestion while riding a motorcycle is a significant perk. As long as you abide by the road markings and traffic signs, it's completely legal. But exercise cautions at all times and don't let your increased confidence overpower you. Keep your gear down and your finger on the brake. Be on the lookout for warning signs from approaching vehicles, especially at intersections. In this video, we're giving you more tips than you can handle at once. As we've said before, the best way to learn is to apply 1 or 2 tips in a week. Master them and then move on to the next one. If you subscribe to our channel Bikers Express, it'll become easier to come back to this video and find yourself the next tips that you want to start practicing with. Number 5, take turns outside, inside, outside. Compared to turning on a motorbike, driving a car is simpler because you don't have to worry about the lean angle, entrance speed, or losing control of the brakes in the middle of the turn. When making turns on a motorcycle, the usual rule of thumb is to position yourself such that you can enter from the outside, travel through the inside of the turn, and then come out from the outside. This decreases your lean angle and enables you to take the curve more quickly by enabling you to scan further through the turn for potential danger. Number 6, practice scanning. Situational awareness can dramatically improve motorcycle safety. By scanning, you may maintain awareness without letting your focus stray too far from the path in front of you. Quickly take in information from your speedometer, mirrors, blind areas, and other instruments. You'll be able to recognize and respond to escalating traffic situations more quickly. Again, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button to get notified about new videos that will help you look like a pro. Thank you. Now let's get on to number 7. Never brake in turn / accelerate through the turn. It's never a good idea to brake when turning. The first thing that will happen if you lean over in a corner is that the bike will start to straighten right away if you hit the brakes before the peak of the turn. Bad news. If you're past the apex of the turn, you might be able to rescue it if the road happens to straighten up fairly quickly. Braking on its own is not a problem, but braking too forcefully or heavily might result in a tire spin-out or brake locking, which can make you lose control. The optimal method to do a corner is to brake before you even get there, then roll on the throttle and speed through the turn once you're leaned over. Number 8. Look through turns. Looking through a turn is another important thing. When you take the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course, or MSF, they really hammer this home by having you practically exaggerate how much you turn your head while looking into a corner. If you already have a bad tendency to turn while only gazing in front of you or slightly forward, breaking that behavior will allow you to see a whole new world. You'll be able to take turns much more quickly as a result of how much less frightening and broad the road seems to become. Number 9. Keep your visor down. Is it ever justified to raise your motorcycle's helmet visor whilst you're riding? No, none at all, according to authorities on traffic safety. This is due to the likelihood that you will get something in your eyes even at low speeds. Not only when you're speeding down the motorway, but at any time, getting a bug, rock, or other small particle in your eye might suddenly make you blind or cause the handlebars to tremble. In other words, keep that visor down at all times if you want to prevent being terribly blinded and endangering your life when riding a bike. In addition, you'll need a set of goggles if your helmet lacks a visor. Number 10. Assume you're invisible. Assume that you're invisible when riding a motorcycle. You have undoubtedly heard this before, but just in case. People might look directly at you and even make eye contact with you, directly driving at you like you aren't even there. Throttle your way out of those situations by using your vehicle's speed and anonymity. The best advice is to make every effort to avoid them by acting as though you and your motorcycle are made of the same material the Predator wears. Number 11. Escape plans. When it comes to preventing accidents, motorcycles have a clear advantage over heavier vehicles. They can fit through small cracks because they're lighter, thinner, and more maneuverable. Always allow a little window of opportunity for fast exits. A rapid swerve may be more preferable to merely slamming on the brakes while driving straight into an obstruction. The ideal strategy is to act as though you are Running Man and that everyone in the world is out to get you. Plus 10 points for 2 allusions to movies starring Arnold Schwarzenegger in one essay. You'll be considerably less likely to be in an accident if you constantly have an escape plan. And at number 12, don't forget your lifesavers. Use your mirrors sparingly, they're fantastic for a quick peek. Always use an over-the-shoulder lifesaver to check your blind spot whilst moving. Every time you're about to conduct a maneuver or modify your road position, proceed as follows. Look in the mirror, check your blind area immediately, put into action. If there was at least one tip in here that made you think, yeah, I'll try that next time I'm riding, then please subscribe to Bikers Express so that we can keep you updated on more tips and tricks for a safer journey. Also, please tell us in the comments which tips you found most useful and why. If lots of people respond, we might make another video on the top tips and cover them in more detail. Thank you so much for joining us, it's been a pleasure to have you, and we'll see you in the next video.